Hi guys, another one of these cheap LED bulbs that I get from Poundland has died. Well, when I say died, it's flickering. So I'm going to take it apart. I think I've done a few videos on taking these apart. Main reason I'm doing this on video is I had a suggestion from somebody on one of the previous ones that I could use the bulb and put one of my logos on it, fill it with a weight, so it's one of those ones that stands itself up. I don't know, that may be a bit big. I may need to use one of my smaller ones and put some sort of weight in the bottom of this so that you knock it over and it rolls back up again. Anyway, first thing I'll do is see if we can actually get the plastic bulb off. It is plastic, so it ought to come off. I've got my glove on just in case, but yeah, this one's different to the one that I took apart before. That one, you were able to pop the bulb out quite easily. This one's either glued on or stuck on quite well. Let's take the bottom off anyway. Okay, that's come off easily enough. So one wire's tucked under the edge and the other one goes down to the end cap. And then what we've got in there is a aluminium disc that's got the circuit board on it and the LEDs, I expect. But this one doesn't want to come apart as easily as they usually do. Okay, we'll take it apart this way. Pretty sure I've taken one of these apart before, because I remember these connectors. Now, watching Big Clive, I would have just said that was a resistor, but Big Clive explains it's a fusible resistor. In other words, it will blow if there's too much current drawn through it, so it acts like a fuse. So watch Big Clive's videos, he knows what he's talking about. I don't. I'm just ripping it apart. These plumbers' pliers, or whatever they call them, they came from Poundland. They're so handy for doing this sort of thing. Gives you a lot of extra leverage. Right, the idea is we're going to put some sort of weight in the bottom of that so that it, if we put that on there, it certainly won't stand upright at the moment. I have to figure out what sort of weight we can put in the bottom of there that might do that. I might have to print one of these a bit thinner, a bit lighter, so we can sit on top and stand upright. Right, back to this bit. That's some sort of silicone sealant around the edges. Yeah, these connectors, they don't need to solder or anything, they just push the wire in and it grips it. Sort of like a ratchet effect. So that saves on the manufacturing. Push it in and it stays in. Mind you, if you want to get it out again, which I'd like to do, that's not going to be quite so easy. I'll do a close-up so we can see what the chips are. And then we've got 5 LED cobs, or what you want to call them. Those are the ones that give us the light. And that one's got a little bit of a dark mark in the middle of it, so maybe that one's not so good. What I did with these the other day was I just held them over a hot gas flame so it melted the solder that holds them in place and they just drop off. So you get a 105 resistor, which is 10 with 5 zeros after it, or 10 with 5 zeros after it. And those two, I can't quite see. 872, well, we'll do a close-up. Right, looking at the little ones, 82R0 and 62R0, which I think means 82 ohms and 62 ohms, I think. And that chip, can you see what that says? And that one, oh, that's better. MB6F. Which I think is the diode bridge. I think that's why that's DB, diode bridge, potentially. So that gives you your DC out for the LED. I don't know why I'm going through this, because Big Clive explains this in much more detail. And as I said, the only reason I'm taking it apart is I want the that bit. I might stick it on a hot flame and drop those LEDs off. I have used them in the past. Just see if we can actually force the wires out against that little holder. Don't want to come out. Right. So that'll be a resistor in there, I think. That's just a bit of spare wire. So can we get this one out? Yes. There we go. That will have squeezed the wires a little bit. But we've got a 33 microfarad 400 volt capacitor. Yeah, we'll go and stick that over a hot flame. Be a bit smelly, but they should then drop off. There we go. Done. I've got this wheel weight, one of those things they use for balancing tyres on your car. I'm not sure how heavy it is, doesn't really matter. Well, it's got 80, is that 34 or 84 stamped on it? Doesn't really matter. Doesn't quite fit in there. It's not lead. I thought it would have been lead, but I suppose life has moved on now. It's some other metal that's heavy, and it's hard. If that was lead, I could just cut through that. So I have to cut that down so we can get it in the bottom of there. Probably hold it in place with hot glue or something. And then, so we want him on top. I might split him. Rather than print a new one, if I split it along the layer line, we should be able to make him much thinner. And then he can sit on there. I've cut the end off that weight so it sits in the bottom there now. I have to decide what I'm going to fix it with, whether to use, I could just use hot wax. I could use 2-part epoxy, I could use hot glue. I'll think about that. What I'm doing at the moment is splitting Grandad. Because I'm going straight along the layer, so it just splits apart quite easily. Because that's the weak point on 3D printing, is along the layer lines. You can see the inside. So it's not solid, but it's practically solid. There's not much of a gap in there. Anyway, that should be a bit lighter. So he can sit in there. We need to fill it up most of the way. Well, I think I've worked this out. I was getting all complicated. I was putting the weight in first, and I was going to mix the 2-part epoxy in a separate container and then pour it in. And I just realised that if I mix the 2-part epoxy in there, and then put that in afterwards, I've saved myself a container. So that's what I'm going to do. Use this stuff. Poundland, of course. To cut the bottom off. Squirt it. It should bring out equal amounts at the same time. Then mix it together well. Well, I can do all that in there. Don't know if this has got a date on it. No. It's been in my drawer for quite a while, but it looks like it's okay. Need a stronger knife to cut this with. Right. Okay, so we'll put this in, mix it, put them in, balance it to make sure it's standing upright, and then leave it to cure. Does it tell us how long it takes? Allow setting time of 4 to 6 minutes. Item can be handled after 30 minutes. Full strength after 16 hours. Oh, you can't see that, can you? No, no, that's what I'm reading there. I'm not looking to fill it right up, because it's also occurred to me that it'd be a lot easier to just put a cap across the top of the thing and balance my little man on top of it. But we'll see how we go. Right, that's that, and then that goes on there. Not that it matters, because that's going in the bin. And give it a good mix. The better the mix, the better it will set. I don't know if this stuff heats up as it sets. Some of the two-part epoxies do. They actually get quite hot. I wonder if I could have added food colouring or anything like that to change its colour. Last time I used this stuff, it was to cast some component parts for my little off-roaders, rock crawlers. I was casting the steering linkage because it had broken, plastic, so I tried casting it out of this. It worked, but it didn't last for long. Right. Now we want to drop that in. I rather wanted it to go the other way up, so that's typical that it should flick upside down. And then add that one in as well. That looks like it's actually sitting about right. Do I trust it to stay like that? I expect the air bubbles may work their way out. How do I something like this to stop any chance of it rocking over. Right, that'll do for now. And I think that I'll just put a flat layer over there, unless we want him right in there. Don't know what would look better. Yeah, if we let that set, we can possibly just stick him on the surface. No point in putting him in there at the moment because he'll just sink right in. Just started filming again for a minute because it's changing colour. Don't know whether it's reacting with the metal, but it's definitely going a greeny shade. Or that may just be as it's setting. But it's definitely darkening up. Well, it's had about 1/4 of an hour, so that should be touch dry. Yeah. Yeah, it did warm up. Oh yeah, that's quite hot. So my theory is I'll just glue him straight on top, I think. Either super glue him, or there might be just enough left in that tube to whip up a tiny bit to stand him in. I only need a tiny little bit for his feet. Right, how am I going to support him? Should have thought about that first, shouldn't I? Well, he's still hot, so it's still curing. But he does what he's supposed to do. I'll put details in the video description as to who it was who suggested I did this, because I can't remember his name at the moment, I'm afraid. Can't even remember what this sort of toy is called. Because it's not a bobblehead, because those are the ones with a little spring on them. This is just a self-righting toy. Oh, nearly dropped him on the floor. It'd probably break then. So I'll class that one as a success. It works. Thanks for watching. If you want more information, check down below in the video description. If you like this video, you might like this one up here. And if you want to subscribe, you can check out my channel over here. Up here is my latest video on my channel, and down here is a video playlist associated with the video you've just watched. Thanks again for watching.